Festhalle in Frankfurt, Germany, which is the financial capital of Germany. 8,000 fans have jammed this arena. They will watch Pete Sampras of the USA take on Jim Courier for the World Championship. Very friendly hello to you, everybody. I'm Cliff Drysdale. The movable feast that is the tennis tour starts in Australia in January, and they are all trying to qualify, of course, for this great event in Frankfurt. 8 players qualified for the championship here. Unfortunately, Stefan Edberg had to withdraw before the whole thing began. So it was Jim Courier, the top seed, followed by Becker, Steek, Lendl, Forget, Sampras, Agassi, and Novacek. They were divided into 2 groups of 4, both playing in round-robin competitions. In the first group, Ivan Lendl didn't lose a match. He and Jim Courier advanced to the semifinals. In Group B, it was Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi who had the same results match-wise as Boris Becker, but set-wise, they are the 2 who advanced to the semifinals. So it was Lendl losing to Sampras yesterday in straight sets and Jim Courier in straight sets over Andre Agassi. I'm now with Arthur Ashe, a man who played in this championship 12 years ago. Arthur, you played against John McEnroe, and since that time, we have not seen an All-American final. So things have changed.
They certainly have, Cliff. And in the mid-1980s, we were wondering who would take the place of Jimmy Connors and John McEnroe. But we found out in 1989, when in the span of 16 months, Chang, Sampras, and Courier won Grand Slam events. And now here we are with 2 Americans in the finals.
Arthur, the other thing, of course, is that there is so much money at stake. Over $1 million to the winner of this. And I guess you guys were playing for 100,000.
Yes, McEnroe won 100. I won 64 in 1979. But look at this. Today's 2 finalists are guaranteed $395,000. The difference, the winner will take an extra $625,000 for a total of $1,020,000. A lot of money.
It's a lot of money. By the way, Arthur, we are going to see 2 players with relatively contrasting styles, I suppose. Who do you think is going to end up winning today?
I've got to go with Sampras. He's really zoning. He's doing very well. I think he's going to win in about 4 sets.
Okay, so I think that you're right in view of the fact that we have a surface here that probably suits Pete Sampras. I'll go along with him as well, but you know, it's a very difficult thing to call this because Jim Courier has surprised everybody all week, the number 2 player in the world, but nevertheless, this is probably not his favorite surface. This is the final of the ATP Championships from Frankfurt, Germany. Best of 5 sets, and it will be these 2 players playing for, as we said, over $1 million. The head-to-head record between the 2 of them, 3-1. Pete Sampras leads, except the last time that they played, Arthur, was the big one at the US Open, that won by Courier, who eventually got to the final.
Certainly did. Stopped dead in his tracks by Stefan Edberg, but here, Sampras' current form is much, much better. Had a very good last half of this year, 1991. Looking at the relative strengths and weaknesses of both players, Courier, he has a winning instinct. His game is not pretty, but he has terrific foot speed, very good balance. And on the distaff side, his backhand, I think that's a weakness that Sampras will try to exploit, and he doesn't come to the net very often. He likes to play in the backcourt. And for Pete Sampras, who was just playing very well, he is an awesome serve, and I mean awesome. A lot of power, so much so that he controls the points as he did against Ivan Lendl. And in the weaknesses, sometimes because he has so many shots in his arsenal, he chooses the wrong one. Also, there's a tendency to rely a bit too much on power. But I still favor Sampras in 4 sets.
Okay, it's going to be a contrast in styles, that's for sure, because Pete Sampras, as you said, will be the big server, and he'll get into the net just as soon as he can. Although sometimes when I watch him play, I'm surprised, Arthur, that he doesn't get into the net as quickly as I would like to see him if I was coaching him. And I talked to Joe Brandy, who is his coach, and he says the same thing. He says, I'd like to get him to come in. Sometimes it's not that easy. There are some of the statistics. This week, Pete Sampras, 3rd in aces and 2nd in first serve percentages. First point, best of 5 sets. Yeah. 15 more. So Sampras off to a good start in the serving department. 30-love, first game. Awesome display of serving, as you said, Arthur, yesterday against Ivan Lendl. Beat him easily in straight sets. Jim Courier over Agassi yesterday, down a breaker serve in the second set, but he won it 7-5.
Going to the backhand, as Agassi tried yesterday.
Another ace for Pete Sampras. He wins the first game of this best-of-5 set World Championship match from Frankfurt.
Played Jim 3 times, and I lost to him in the quarters of the Open, a big match. I think the surface kind of helps me out a little bit. It's a little bit quicker. It's a pretty fast court out there. It's just a matter of going out there and playing my tennis and serving well and being patient from the baseline and working my way to the net.
I just have to go out there and hope that he's not serving his best. Hope that I am serving my best, and I'm going to try and engage him in some baseline rallies, because he's certainly more adept at the net, and I think that I'm a bit more adept at the baseline than he is. But you never know with him. If he's hot, he's pretty adept at everything.
That just about sums it up, doesn't it, Arthur? He is pretty adept at everything when he's playing well. Pete Sampras, U.S. Open champion of last year. But again, Jim Courier saying that it's his ground strokes against the serve of Sampras, the serve of Sampras winning the first game. This is the second game of the match.
There you're showing that foot speed that we talked about just a few minutes ago. A very quick first step.
Prize money, by the way, here is enormous, of course. The winner of the match today will take home not just $1 million, $1,020,000. Prize money differential between the two for today's match is $625,000. Now, of course, these guys make a lot of money. That is a well-known fact, but I think that those kind of numbers will get your attention even when you're in that tax bracket. French Open champion, of course. Finalist at the U.S. Open. $30-15.
We watch Courier go through his routine between points. I think what has been added to his routine today is to take as much time as possible, because he knows Sampras is on a roll. Got to slow him down, get him out of his normal rhythm. Always good to get that first service game out of the way, Cliff. I guess the way some boxers say, they want to get hit at least one time and feel like they're into the match.
One game all first set. Next Sunday on ABC Sports will be New York's Madison Square Garden for the season's ultimate showdown in women's tennis, the final of the Virginia Slims Championships. Live coverage at 1 Eastern, 12 Central, 12:30 Pacific. Next Sunday on ABC Sports. This is Pete Sampras at one game all first set.
said Jim Courier couldn't volley. He took the match to Sampras that time, the backhand side. The ball was short enough. It was about a yard inside the service line. Why not?
Well, Jorn Borg used to do that all the time. He was not a serve and volley player, was he, Arthur? But he used to do that to take the net away from the aggressive player if that's what he was faced with. And in this case, I think you'll see Jim Courier doing a little more of it than he normally would. Superb approach shot from Pete Sampras. Easy put away, 30 love. Make that 15 all.
That's what I mean, Cliff, by shot selection. Sampras stopped abruptly. Could have hit that approach shot with underspin. He chose topspin. Sometimes he makes the wrong choice.
Also, I was talking to Joe Brandy, who's Pete Sampras' coach, and he was saying that the thing that he takes more pride in Sampras' game since he took him over was the fact that he can come underneath the backhand now, which he really couldn't do when they met. Adds a new dimension to the game. 40-15.
Well, that is exactly the same shot that Ivan Lendl added when he was number 5 in the world, and that plus moving his serve toss over a bit more to the right brought him up to number 1. It's a very convenient, versatile shot, that backhand chip.
Wide serve to the forehand side. Jim Courier was waiting for it, pulled it cross court on the forehand return. Volley error from Pete Sampras, but it's still game point. It was only just wide, and Sampras on serve, leading 2-1 first set. Pete Sampras, 2-1 first set. This is a best of 5-set World Championship from Frankfurt.
Well, let's look at their weapons of war, so to speak. Jim Courier is using a racket made of graphite and Kevlar. The string he uses is not real gut, it's synthetic, strung at about 66 pounds, although the cross and the main strings are usually a bit different. 16-gauge string, surface area 85 square inches. Weight, that's a little on the heavy side, a little over 13.5 ounces, and his shoe size, not particularly big feet.
So
10.5.
It makes it a mid-sized head, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
Is Pete Sampras?
Pete Sampras, similar, graphite and Kevlar. He uses natural gut. Less poundage, same gauge.
So the weapons of war, as you put it, Arthur, are pretty similar.
Now, the question that pops out of those racket graphics, what's the difference in the string poundage? 66 versus 59. We'll talk about that as we go on.
Courier certainly doesn't have the same serve power that Pete Sampras does, but he can serve well. He can get your attention with the serve. No serve breaks yet. Early stages, 2-1, 30 love. Jim Courier not named by Tom Gorman to the Davis Cup team in spite of being the number 2 player in the world. He has taken the fact that he has not been named rather well, in fact. Pete Sampras is named to the team, so is Andre Agassi. Now, Courier beat Agassi yesterday. Courier also beat Guy Forget, who's going to play for France in the singles during the round-robin competition. So he's got to be saying to himself, wait a minute. Short backswing on both sides, and he pounces on the first opportunity he gets.
Well, that's what I mean by the winner's instincts. He's able to play the court, the angles very well. And this game, as I said, the way he plays it, it's not pretty to look at, but he wins. He finds a way to win. That's something sometimes you can't teach. Now that one looked a bit forced. He was just a yard or so inside the baseline, tried to take it early.
Game point still for Courier. Wears a cap indoors, which is kind of strange. You don't see that often. Fru McMillan used to do that, one of the great doubles players of all time. Says it helps him to some extent with the sweat. May also help him as far as the lights are concerned here in this indoor arena. There are a lot of them. Game point, Courier. Courier holds on. 2 games all, first set. By the way, one of the reasons that the golfers may or may not wear caps is because it gives them an opportunity to put a nice little advertising sign on there. But the boys in tennis are not allowed to do that.
No, they're not.
The only cap that they can wear is that ATP Tour cap. And I kind of like that. You don't want to have them look like billboards.
But then again, there are some other players on the tour who wear hats or caps all the time.
Second in serve games, 1 for the year, Pete Sampras, which is a heck of a statistic behind Wimbledon champion Michael Stich.
Andre Agassi started yesterday with a similar strategy, trying to pull Courier wide to his right, that is to his forehand side, to open up the two-handed backhand. That's where I think there is a vulnerability against Courier today, especially with a player like Sampras, who penetrates so well. But today, when he was out practicing, his coach, Higueras, was serving to Courier from just behind the service line to mimic Pete Sampras, and he was just knocking off service returns, as he did on that one.
15 all.
Again, Courier sensed that his return of serve was going to be nice and deep, and so he just rushed in.
Good play from Courier, and Sampras behind in this serve game. It's 15-30.
Now, this is the first opening of this match so far in this 5th game for either player against the other's serve.
Now, 2 break points for Courier.
15-14.
Lazy-looking volley.
Lazy-looking player, but
Yes, he looks very languid.
second in break points won. Take a look at that, 50% this week for Jim Courier. That's pretty impressive. When 1 out of every 2 break point opportunities. There's the break for Courier. First blood in this match, 3 games to 2. First set, best of 5 set World Championship from Frankfurt, and we'll be back.
Courts in session. The world's finest meet for their $3 million grand finale. The Virginia Slims Championships live next Sunday on ABC Sports.
This is the ATP Tour World Championship. Jim Courier, Pete Sampras battling it out. First set, break is served to Courier. He leads it 3-2 and is serving. We're in Frankfurt, which is the banking center of Germany. There's also the home of the stock market here in Germany. So when you see, I guess it's the DAX.
Right.
Comes from Frankfurt.
DAX.
First serve percentages about even for the two of them.
And those are pretty good numbers, by the way, for anyone.
Slice approach down the line throw from Sampras. Clean winner. Beautifully swung.
It's a bit of a dangerous approach shot to go cross-court, even though it was crisply hit with underspin. That's one of Sampras's favorite shots. The problem, though, was Courier. If you hit a ball like that as an approach shot, you've got to come up and plant yourself in the middle, as opposed to covering just one part of the court.
If you approach down the line.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Love 30. Early call, no complaint from Sampras. 15-30 in this game. He's a break down in the first set.
We both mentioned, Cliff, that we thought Courier would try to slow things down, even when he is serving. And you can see it now with the deliberate amount of time he's taking between serves. He's taking his time, and the reason is he knows Sampras has been playing out of his mind for a couple of days, and just got to slow him down.
That miss hit from Jim Courier gives Pete Sampras break points. Sampras moves around the court so easily, so fluidly, sometimes doesn't even look like he's trying that hard. This man plays very different. He's like a bulldog. Works hard and he shows it. Break point. Good coverage from Jim Courier, but Sampras was there to put the volley away, and we are even. One break apiece in the first set. It's 3 games all.
And that showed me a lot of poise on the part of Sampras. When he came in to get that short ball from Courier, I really thought he was going to slice it, but he didn't. He went over, and he wasn't over anxious about it, which is frequently what happens in a situation like that.
longest ever final of this tournament's 22-year history. Watch this again.
Now, look where Sampras is, just shaded a bit to his right. Courier decided to go over the high part of the net with the passing shot attempt.
Big serve again from Courier. The youngest all-time champion is John McEnroe. He was not yet 20 years old when he beat you, Arthur, in '79. That was at Madison Square Garden.
Right. And now the action has moved to Europe. But we'll be back there again next Sunday for the Virginia Slims. Oh, that looked wide.
13-15.
Looked wide from here, but called good by the sidelines person, so Sampras is not going to argue, although he is disappointed.
Great return, fine volley, or half volley rather, from Pete Sampras. Good serve from Sampras down the middle, but again, Courier, he had to have anticipated it. It's such a hard serve that you've pretty much got to go one way or the other, and he chose the right way to go. 30 all in this game. 3 games all, first set.
PS2 40-30.
To make the stab at that one because it was going to be in.
Yes, it was going to be in, but what won the point, I think, for Courier was the thick underspin he put on the ball. Now watch, Sampras goes cross-court with backhand topspin, and here, when the ball is hit at you with underspin, you've got to drive through it because the ball wants to go straight down after it hits your strings. You got to move through it, which Sampras didn't.
A little bit of help from the net for Jim Courier. That approach shot from Sampras would have been a good one, but it sat up, and Courier is lethal if you give him this kind of a passing shot effort. Break point. Down the line, clean winner on the passing shot from Jim Courier. 3 breaks in a row, 2 of them belonging to Jim Courier.
4-3. New balls.
There's a look at Courier again down the line. Excellently played. Any opportunity, and Courier has been able to hit the passing shots on the money, and he leads it with a break, 4-3 first set. This is the ATP World Championship from Frankfurt. Courier leading with a break. 4-3 first set, best of 5 sets, over $1 million at stake in this match. Paulo Pereira is in the chair, and what an honor it is for him to be in the chair for this year-ending final match. All matches so far in Frankfurt have been best of 3 sets.
Henson, 15-1. The guys 13-1. 31.
Well, 2 missed returns in a row. Fourth-ranked American to be ranked number 2. I know that first guy. Connors and McEnroe.
Yeah, but you were saying earlier today that you didn't even remember that you'd been number 2.
Really
you were interested in number 1.
I never made it to number 1, but both McEnroe and Connors did. Speaking of McEnroe, that was a McEnroe-like volley attempt.
Gee, I'm not sure that John would like to hear.
No, didn't like the results, but
But you're right. He let the racket head drop, didn't he?
John didn't bend his knees too often. He just stuck the racket down there, but not quite the same talent with the hands.
By the way, you can't talk about John in the past tense because he's still very
Yes,
much
he
a
is.
player on the tour. Game point. That's wide game to Jim Courier. 5 games to 3 in the first set. McEnroe, by the way, very much wanted to play Davis Cup for the USA in the final against France in Lyon, but was not selected.
And I thought he made an interesting comment when he found out he was not going to be selected to play doubles. He said, I remember the quote, "Well, that's the team's loss." And that sounds the John McEnroe that I know. Looking at the first serve percentage.
Gone down quite a bit.
Well, that's interesting because yesterday against Lendl, Sampras had no double faults.
Semi-final matches yesterday, both pretty ho-hum affairs. Sampras easily over Ivan Lendl in straight sets. And it was Agassi losing to Courier also in straight sets. (30-15). There were 2 very interesting matches there in the round-robin competition. Firstly, Becker losing to Agassi for the 5th time. First serve percentages. This is a correction. 66% apiece. They had been up at 75 last time we checked. He has been terrific on the passing shot so far, Arthur.
Yes, well, when he was on the other side of the net just a game ago, he hit the same shot down the line with the forehand as he did here. And it also clipped the line as well, the top of the net tape, rather. So he's got the timing on that forehand down the line right now, as far as the passing shot's concerned.
30-all. Waited a little too long on the volley and paid the price. This is set point for Courier.
But the truth be told, Sampras should have covered that shot. You always leave the cross court open in a situation like that.
This is the one he should have put away.
Yes, he should have closed in a bit more. It's 2 key forehand volleys we've seen him miss now. You smell a double fault?
No. Jim Courier, 2 for 2 in break point opportunities. No, I don't. You're better at smelling double faults.
Well, he had one. He had none yesterday.
That's right.
And that was an awfully high arcing first serve. I mean, it looked as though he was really trying to hit it that high to make sure it went over the net.
Right. Deuce. Set point again for Jim Courier. They have both been in very tight situations. They have both won Grand Slam tournaments. This year, And you're looking at now on the French Championships. Last year, Pete Sampras won the U.S. Open. Sampras has played for and won $2 million, which he did last year in December at the Grand Slam Cup. There's the break and the set for Jim Courier. Best of 5 sets, remember, but Courier, behind 3 breaks to serve in the first set, wins it by 6 games to 3.
The ATP Tour World Championship. Brought to you by United Airlines. Come fly the airline that spans more than half the world. Come fly the friendly skies. By Donnet and the new Donnet Ghost with arch section technology. By Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares. And by the people at Nike, who encourage you to just do it.
First set of the ATP Tour World Championship is history. Jim Courier the winner, 6 games to 3.
Looking at a summation of the first set so far at 6-3. Not too much difference in the first serve. Double faults. Sampras came at the wrong time. He's hit more winners. Didn't really matter. And we expected that because he is a very offensive player. He really goes for his shots.
When you look at those stats, you'd think that the other man had won.
You would have thought that, but not so.
Courier leads off the second set. He won the first.
Sampras is going to have to switch to the underspin. His topspin backhand ground stroke is not going deeply enough into the other side. It's falling too short. You cannot do that with Jim Courier. I think he may figure it out soon.
Oh, yeah.
Quick on the draw. Courier a kicking serve. Again, the ball didn't go deeply enough on the return from Sampras. Got to use that underspin a bit more. Play from Courier. He's giving Sampras almost no pace. He knows Sampras likes to hit the ball hard, so he is just chipping away at him. The ball stays low, speed's taken off the ball, and Sampras is going for shots that are a bit too risky.
That's why Courier has won the first game of the second set. He won the first set easily. 3 breaks of serve against Pete Sampras. Who'd have believed that? 6 games to 3. We'll be back. Courier leading 1 set and 1 game to love. Nobody hits the backhand like Jim Courier in tennis. He hits it very early. He used to play half of the season baseball, and then half of the season he played tennis. His swing on the backhand side is very like a baseball swing. Take a look and see how this body moves into the ball, the upper body rotation into the ball, and take a look at how similar this is. You see how he swings into the ball, same kind of body rotation when he moves his racket into the ball, and the reason for that is very simple, and that is a baseball swing. He used to play for 6 months a year baseball. It works for him, but it's a unique shot in tennis.
Certainly is. foot speed that we talked about at the beginning of the show. Not only did he know what to do with this, he got it back over the net just to give himself more time. Got to it, and he went about the only place he could go, try the lower part of the net, but couldn't keep it in. I have been most impressed so far, Cliff, that Courier has returned Sampras' serve as well as he has. I mean just getting it in. Yeah. Just get it back in the court.
On the line,
on the line.
Courier would like a call. He's not going to get one. I was thinking the same thing, Arthur, and I had the feeling that Jose Higueras, who is Jim Courier's coach, and he might have sat down and said, look, I can tell you about the percentages of where he's going to serve. Now, I don't know that they did that because they didn't say anything to that effect to me, but he sure is picking it well.
And he's not trying to do anything with it. Just get it in so that Sampras knows he's got to hit that first volley every point. Well, he hurt that foot yesterday. I assume it's the same foot.
Latter stages of the match with Andre Agassi yesterday. Sampras came over where you can see him going over. That's the left foot. Looks like he went over on. But it did not appear to us to be a very serious injury. And he's back in, apparently in fighting fit shape. 1-1, second set.
Bad choice of shots. We talked about Sampras' weakness. We mentioned shot selection, and that's a very good example. He really should have lobbed that ball. He was completely out of position. Had no business really trying a passing shot. In fact, I don't see Sampras lob too often, but he does have a good lob.
Low.
Oh, a late good call. That's Courier's first ace. .106 miles per hour. That's 171 kilometers per hour. No one, by the way, Cliff, has topped 200 kilometers per hour this week. I think 198.
Marc Rosset is the man with the fastest serve of the calendar year.
He's not here.
But I have a feeling you may see more big servers in the sport in these year-ending events. .40-15 in this game. I think that the surfaces, Arthur, have got faster. I think the guys have got a little stronger, and I think the racket technology has helped them to some extent, so that the big servers like Krajcek, Rosset, Pete Sampras is certainly among them, Stefan Edberg, have got the advantage over players who play defensively, more so than they used to have. Game point. Courier holds on, no breaks yet in the second set, but there were plenty of breaks in the first. Courier won that 6-3. It's 2-1.
Certainly has, and at very inopportune times. Almost twice as many for Sampras as Courier. Courier's strategy today seems to be get the ball in the court and let Sampras, with his sometimes languid approach to shots, give him a chance to make an error.
Pulled his racket away just in time. The ball sailed wide. 15 love. We're in Frankfurt, Germany, home of Wolfgang von Goethe, who is Germany's most famous writer and poet. German language's equivalent of William Shakespeare.
First service.
Rather long on that first serve. Drop volley is a dangerous shot. Well done by Sampras to get to it, and then a good choice of shot this time, Arthur.
It certainly was. He chipped it back, Sampras that is, and he starts for it. And basically, I thought Courier would figure out that from the position of the racket, Sampras would go cross court or lob. That's what I was taught earlier, Cliff, that you watch your opponent's racket face as they're coming up to try to hit a passing shot, and depending on where the racket face is, you can deduce where he's got to go with it.
Good serve game there from Pete Sampras. Dead even, 2 games all. Second set. Best of 5 sets. Courier won the first easily.
The important thing there is the first cheap game Sampras has gotten on his own serve in quite a while. Second ace for Jim Courier.
Courier from Dade City, Florida, by the way, has, as you take a look at the aces, 3 against 2, Sampras and Courier. Just bought himself a place in Palm Springs, which is where his coach, Jose Higueras, lives. In fact, Pete Sampras went the opposite direction.
Yes, he lives in Bradenton.
Right. He was a California boy, though.
Right.
By the way, the other interesting match I think you'd be interested in from the round-robin competition, Boris Becker taking on Michael Stich. Boris Becker, who had lost his stick in the Wimbledon final on grass, got his revenge here in Frankfurt, and Michael Stich, by the way, was very upset at what he thought was the crowd being so much for Boris Becker. They were indeed for Becker, and it was surprising because Michael Stich's a very calm, gentle kind of a guy.
Quick on the draw, Courier taking that ball which landed just over the service line. Now watch this return. It's just over the service line, and he really could have gone any place he wanted.
Becker, one of the most charismatic players on the tour, if not the most. And the crowd here were all for him in that match.
In terms of pure charisma, Becker's right up there, and Agassi would give him a little run for his money, I think. Cliff, we mentioned in the first set, Sampras was hitting the ball, we thought, a bit too shallow and not getting it any deeper right now, and he's not able to control points as he did in the match against Lindell. He was simply awesome against Lindell last night. You know, to put put that
40-30.
Lindell match into perspective, Lindell had not lost a match. He was 3-0 in his matches coming into that match. But there was a point there where Sampras could have won the match 6-2, 6-love in less than an hour. And as it was, the match only lasted an hour, 8 minutes. That's how dominating he was last night.
Terrific display from Pete Sampras in that match. Game point.
A beautiful backhand, timed perfectly. Hit it about waist high. It's one of those shots you dream about. Just nails it cross court. And he used to play with two hands as a junior player. Started off two-handed backhand.
He was a defensive player, in fact, and then when he got to college, he really wanted to learn to play certain volley-style play.
Well, he never got to college.
No,
And his coach,
that's right.
Dr. Fisher, convinced him that if he were to be a very good player, as we're looking at who's converted the most, 3 or 4 for Courier and Sampras, that he should change from a two-handed to a one-handed backhand. Really copying Rod Laver.
In fact, at the time, Arthur, and thanks for the correction, he did not get to college. As you said, he was talking about trying to win Wimbledon. He was a big Rod Laver fan, Pete Sampras, and used to study his tapes very carefully. Only man to win 2 Grand Slams, the great Rod Laver. Deuce again.
Well, his sister got to college. She played at UCLA. Stella is her name. Looking for an out call. I think he realized it was good. Even the crowd agreed that it was good.
Yeah, you'd have heard more from him, wouldn't you, if he really felt that he had been badly done by break point. No breaks are served yet in the second set. 4 breaks in the first. One of them against Courier.
Now Sampras doesn't change positions except to take a step forward. Not. Oh, now he did change.
A bit like Jimmy Connors in the sense that when you play against this guy, Jim Courier, he may not come to the net that much, but he hits the ball so hard from the back. As Jim Courier asks for something from the ball boy, but the ball kid doesn't quite understand what he wants, and what he wants is the towel. Paolo Pereira in the chair is having a little fun with it, and Courier is having a little fun with the ball boy.
I don't think Courier, if the truth be told, knows what the German word for towel is. That's probably what it was. What is the German word for towel?
Handtuchen.
Well, I'm glad.
Something like
Well, that's
that.
easy for you to say.
Maybe it's Handtuch.
So twice, Courier has been down game point, got out of it. Now looking again, he is punishing Sampras with that forehand hit from mid. Again, Cliff, Sampras's balls are just not going deep enough. They're falling too short.
Having been down a break point, Jim Courier now has game point. Called long, so we're still on serve. 3-2 in the second set. First set to Jim Courier, who's the French Open champion. Jim Courier won the first set 6-3. He leads 3-2 in the second set. This is a best of 5 set men's singles final at the ATP Tour World Championship from Frankfurt. I'm Cliff Drysdale along with Arthur S. Hope you're enjoying this match. Been some fireworks so far. A lot of breaks of serve in the first set, none yet in the second.
And why is Courier ahead? I think two things. One, he has slowed down the pace so that Sampras doesn't get the feeling that he's on a roll. And secondly, he has been terrific at getting Sampras' serve back in the court.
Courier, 8 forehand winners, 3 of the backhand. And 3 and 3 for Sampras, respectively.
Fourth ace for Pete Sampras. Little help from the net. This is the third time this match that has happened. There have been 2 previous occasions with forehand passing shots from Courier that just tipped the net and went right over. Not a bad choice of shots for Courier. It's the first time this match he's really tried a lob instead of trying to go through or around. And it'll get Sampras thinking anyway.
Game point. Great hustle from Jim Courier to get to that from Pete Sampras.
Another example, what we mentioned, those winner's instincts. He just senses these openings and really goes after them.
Still game point for Sampras. Said before, Jim Courier is like playing against a bulldog. Once he gets his teeth into you, just never lets go. And players like that are difficult to play against, Arthur, because you've got to make so many points count. Now, you can get to Jim Courier. You saw Stefan Edberg get to him as you watch this replay in the U.S. Open final.
Yes, Courier is just trying to get the returner serve back in the court, which he's been doing exceptionally well today. 3-all in the second set. 3 breaks of serve in the first set.
Three breaks for Sampras and 1, of course, for Jim Courier.
He had him.
15 balls.
Sampras is still making more unforced errors than Courier, and I still think Sampras needs to switch it a little bit more in the backhand to the underspin. bit more slice might help. Now, that's what he tried the point before, only this time he makes it. You can see when Courier comes up to the net, which he doesn't do too often, but he really is not that comfortable up there. That's all there is to it. It involves a lot of grip change, too. To go from that baseball grip on the left side to a volley grip, that's not easy.
15 all. 3 games all, second set. Solid volley from Jim Courier, 30-15. They've played 3 times already this year. Cincinnati, Sampras won, and he also won at Indianapolis.
Now he senses he's really got Sampras, so he just closes in with a wide open court on the forehand side.
Those were both straight set victories to Pete Sampras, and then it was the U.S. Open when Courier turned the tables on him and beat him in straights. 6-2, 7-6, 7-6.
Drei Beine, 38.
Interesting from this camera angle, just watch Courier go through his between points routine. Now watch this, Cliff. Even though he lost that point, wipes off his face, adjusts his cap, play with the strings, slow down, look up, get the ball from the ball point, bounce it back to the baseline.
Last time he served, he was down a break point. In fact, another break point down now at 3 games all.
Does he go for a big one? Not only did he go for a big one, he got it in.
Return was just long.
One ball.
Kind of player Pancho Segura would love to coach. You know, he just knows what to do in certain situations.
First time he's been in a year-end championship. Sampras has had 3 break points in this set, 2 in the last 2 games, as I said, and 1 in this game. Without success so far. It's deuce. Another shot here. This is his 4th. Remind you that these players are playing today for $625,000. The winner today will take home over $1 million. $1,020,000. Break point. Deuce again.
Now he closes in. As you say, Cliff, he just wants to sink his teeth into you. Won't let go.
$60,000 at stake each round-robin match, and then The winners of the semifinal matches yesterday made $220,000. Just to get here, you make $55,000.
A bit dangerous going cross court. Sampras happened to be right there. He only had to move a step and a half to his right.
There, but not in enough time to do anything with it. And we're back at deuce. That's the third break point of this game.
And each time he was down break point, Cliff, he got his first serve in. It's a little backhand drop volley that Sampras can't quite get his racket to with any authority.
Courier coming into the net again on that point. He's been in 15 times. Sampras has been in 29, but 15 is more, a lot more than he normally does at this stage of a match. He was looking for a call, Pete Sampras, and he didn't finish the stroke. It cost him. Whistles from the crowd notwithstanding, this is game point for Courier.
And he closes in. Doesn't matter.
Mind you that Stefan Edberg did not play this championship. He has bad knees. His place was taken by Karl Novacek.
There, Sampras was looking for a call from the baselines person. Not there.
So Courier, after a tremendous effort and 3 break points down, holds on. He's ahead 4 games to 3 in the second set, and he won the first 6-3. We're on serve in the second set. 6-3 first set, 4 games to 3 second set. Courier's been in trouble in the second set, but he has not been broken yet, so we're on serve. Sampras will serve. We are in Frankfurt, Germany. It has 2 nicknames here. They call it Bankfurt because this is the banking capital of Germany, or Manhattan. There's the Main River that goes through the center of this city, but I guess because Wall Street is on Manhattan.
Right.
15 long.
Well, Manhattan has got 2 rivers on either side with 3 different names: Hudson, East River, the Harlem River.
And we'll be there next week.
Yes, we will.
Covering the Virginia Slims.
From Madison Square Garden.
Hold longs. 15 all.
Again, wrong shot selection. When a ball is that low, as it was with Pete Sampras, and he tries to hit that much topspin, you're taking a big chance. Wrong choice of shots.
114 on that serve.
And that's fairly fast. 186 miles per hour. Kilometers per hour, I should say.
13-15.
5 aces for Sampras. 5 aces and 2 for Courier. Wide. Still game point for Sampras.
40-30.
But he has to work for every point. Talking about the U.S. Open last year after Jim Courier, I think he was tremendously surprised. After the match, he said, well, there was simply nothing I could do against Edberg. Great match by Edberg. Serving of that kind from Stefan Edberg. Lost that in straight sets, of course, but I think he might have learned something from that match. He said after it that he had to go ahead and reassess his entire game if he wanted to be able to make an impression on somebody like Edberg playing as well as Edberg did. 4 games all, second set. He sure has played a different and better match today. Of course, Sampras, on the other hand, has not been as devastating as Edberg was on that Sunday at the U.S. Open.
15 love.
Sampras has got to get ready to play when he's returning serve. He's slow off the mark. It looks slow mentally. Going through a dry run there. So that's 2 return of serve errors in a row, both unforced, basically. Because we do have a bit of a problem sometimes in not having an official scorer for the sport. One reporter may say something is an unforced error, and another person may say it isn't.
Good return from Sampras, 30-15. We're in the second set of the World Championship from Frankfurt. Pete Sampras taking on Jim Courier, both of the USA, the first All-American final since Arthur Ashe played John McEnroe 12 years ago.
Would not have been deep enough in any case. Sampras has just got to get some better penetration if he's going to win this match.
Game point. Makes a difference too, doesn't it, Arthur, when as you watch this replay, a guy like Pete Sampras, for example, realizes how many chances he's had in the set, hasn't been able to convert them, though.
6 break points, and only 1 converted.
Still game point.
Again, bad shot selection. Tried to hit a half volley.
Courier holds on and is ahead 5 games to 4 on serve, second set. Set to Jim Courier, and he leads 5-4 in the second. Opportunities to break, but no breaks of serve yet in the second set. This is the ATP World Championship. The Skins game on ABC, November 30th. Begin our coverage of golf's most entertaining event, the 9th annual Skins game. John Daly will join U.S. Open champ Payne Stewart, Jack Nicklaus, and defending champ Curtis Strange. That's at the PGA West in La Quinta, California. Our coverage begins in 2 weeks on ABC Sports. That's something that I know you're not going to miss, the Skins game.
I enjoy watching it. I really do.
So do I.
It's just like I enjoyed watching the Ryder Cup. Some of those very good golfers never had such pressure on them before, and we saw what happened.
Versus
Now Courier just 4 points away from having a 2-set-to-love lead.
But he really hasn't been in the ballgame on Pete Sampras' serve this set yet.
No.
As many times as he broke him, 3 times in the first set. Pete Sampras has settled down on his own serve. Courier has not been at break point in this set.
39.
On Sampras' serve.
Oh, yes.
And a half volley drop shot for a winner from Pete
Touche.
Sampras.
Got the feeling in retrospect that Sampras sort of knew, well, this is the only thing Courier could do with it. So he just shoved his racket over to the left.
Speed Sampras.
5 games all. You know, Cliff, you were mentioning possibility of college for Sampras. Neither one went. And that's really something that is talked about a lot in America now. Both of these players, Courier and Sampras, you look at Agassi, you look at Chang, none of them went to college. Wheaton, whom I think could win a Grand Slam one day, spent a year at Stanford, but college tennis is very important. That was just inside the baseline.
15 love.
15 love, Courier. I was fortunate enough to be able to host a college ITCA tournament, clay court championships in Wilmington, North Carolina. It was tremendous tennis.
Terrific competition.
15 love. Difficult to justify going to college when you have the opportunity, though, also to play for $1 million, like you're doing today.
If you're this good, not going to college is the right decision. Little slow moving to his right. Cost Sampras at last point. Courier has a quicker first step than Sampras. Sampras, when he moves, reminds me of Miloslav Mrčić.
Miloslav Mrčić moved like a cat.
Like a cat. No, quite quiet, but he was always there. Interesting, that's the speed at which Courier likes to hit the ball. He loves speed because he's basically a counterpuncher. I suspect that when Sampras gets into those sorts of baseline rallies, he's worried a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Very solid. Very solid. He has moved into the ball very well. As you said, Arthur, all match long, Pete Sampras has been a little short. Every time he has been short, he's paid a price to watch. Game point. Good recovery from Pete Sampras. Still game point for Courier.
Well, that cord, there is an instance when not being a natural volleyer may have incrementally, sort of marginally cost him that point. Well, Cliff, we talked about the underspin a little earlier. The ball stays low, the pace comes off it as it hits the court. That's exactly what happened. Trying too much topspin from too low off the ground.
So reduce. Easy overhead put away. Game point again for Jim Courier.
And you know, Cliff, these guys are good friends. They like each other.
Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, Sampras came down to Florida and Nick Volateri's place when Courier was down there at Courier's invitation, and it really helped his game, he said, because he learned a new work ethic. This guy works very hard, Jim Courier, off the court.
Sampras may be starting a bit of a roll here if he can put two big points together back to back. That's really what he needs, so to get his confidence into fourth gear.
Interesting, Arthur. I was just thinking that you have to make it happen against Courier because he very seldom beats himself. And that point throw, Sampras did exactly the opposite. As you take a look, Sampras has only converted one break point. That was in the first set. He's had 6 chances. He has another one. Courier, 3 out of 4. Makes a big difference. Courier has been a lot stronger in the important points so far. Break point here, though. Again, for Sampras. There is the break. Second break of the match for Sampras. When we come back, it will be Pete Sampras to serve for the second set and tie this match, if he can, at 1 apiece. Sampras to serve for the second set. He lost the first, lost his serve 3 times. He has not faced a break point against his serve in this second set.
Well, if he goes, Courier is not going to go with a whimper in this set.
Oh, big return of serve. Powerful serve into the backhand side. Courier was waiting for it. Put it right back at Sampras' feet.
And the speed of that serve wasn't that great. Only 161 kilometers per hour. It's around 108, something like that.
On the line. Courier doesn't like it, but the call will stay.
15-13.
Ace number 7 for Sampras, and it was, in fact, a change of pace.
Oh, yeah.
It was a hook out wide.
On the line. Would Sampras like to have that one again? He could hear that Jim Courier had broken a string. It was clear to everybody in the stadium. Courier knew it, so he gets into the net as soon as he can, because you simply cannot stay back and trade ground strokes. And Sampras did not make him play.
I think Sampras also heard those footsteps of Courier, rather, coming to the net.
Yeah, but even the volley's going to fly on you with a broken string.
Yeah. He has thrown his old racket to his
Break record 13-8, 15-12 for Sampras. So Courier has the better percentage tie-break record. And Courier leads their head-to-head 2-1 in tie-breaks. But I'll go for Pete Sampras just to take the other. Take the other corner.
We'll see. Poor shot selection again. You either come in and knock the volley off or let it bounce and try to chip it back. It's possible to do it, but not easy. Topspin from that position.
As you said, Arthur, from that position, you've got to hit a lot of topspin, and it is not that effective a shot to come in behind topspin. 2-1, Sampras.
2-1, Sampras.
Crucial points for both players, clearly, but more so for Pete Sampras. Down 2-0 in this match, and Courier would be, of course, in the driver's seat.
on the line. Courier's backhand volley just did not have enough sting on it. The approach shot down the middle, and this backhand volley is just not deep enough, nor with enough sting.
There's really not much that Jim Courier could do about that either.
No.
Bitte.
3-1 mini break.
That's an ace. No.
Would have been if it wasn't called a let.
Right. It was in the court.
First service.
Courier slowing down, trying to take his time. Don't want to take too much time.
Sampras. And Sampras to serve.
The Germans are thundering their approval with their feet. Courier decides to try a little kamikaze drill there, but didn't work.
Probe bitte. Danke.
Down the line. 5-1 Sampras. The players will change in. 7 is the magic number, of course, in the tiebreak. So Sampras is just 2 away.
Interesting, Cliff. I noticed from this current generation of players, very few of them are superstitious. It used to be, so can you name some players who wouldn't step on the line? Okay. They would have to go around the court a certain way, but these players don't care.
I was one of them.
But tiebreak was one of those instances where everybody was nervous. Wanted to adhere to their superstitions.
Double fault from Sampras. So 1 mini break point back for Jim Courier. 5-2 now. Two double faults, as you can see, for Sampras in the match. Courier hasn't served one yet.
A little too much from Sampras. Really caught way out of position and tried to make a bit too much out of it.
Courier on the comeback trail in the tiebreak. Remember, he was down 5 points to 1.
Ooh, 2 inches long.
5-4.
Sampras will serve 2 points with a 5-4 lead. He could put Courier away in the set. But Courier has won 3 points in a row.
Or he might double fault again. He's got to be thinking about that last double fault at 5-1.
First service.
And that the service motion isn't quite as fluid as it would be is not surprising. It's tight for anyone.
his ground. And it nearly worked, but he didn't execute the shot, Courier.
It's a smart play on Sampras' part to hit the ball right down the middle, not worry about trying to hit it too hard, just get it in the court.
2 set points.
Bitte. Danke.
Cyclops machine with its squeal. Long. Ball is long. Double fault.
6-5. 6-5. Sampras.
I just sensed it. One of these 2 points would be a double fault.
Well,
His motion is just not as fluid as it should be, not even close to what it was last night. Ball toss is going straight up in the air rather than leading into the court.
Danke.
It ain't over yet.
still a set point for Sampras.
Right. Still set point for Sampras.
You know how much Courier wanted the first serve there. Courier into the net, and it is Sampras who, in spite of that double fault at set point, wins the set.